Good morning or afternoon or whatever it might be, or wherever the heck you might find yourself. It's been about 2 weeks since the last video. A lot has happened since then. Things seem to be moving in an interesting direction. Hi, Meep. I mean, are you paying attention to anything that's going on other than, your work, your friends? You're paying attention to what's going on out there, supposedly up there, around you, elsewhere on the planet. Things do seem to be coming to a head. But before we start talking about that, let's talk about my recent trip to Montana. Recently went to visit my son in Montana. Been a little over a year since I last saw him. And, it was a great time. We caught up on a lot of talking, a lot of just doing a heck of a lot of nothing and just being with each other and, father-son stuff. Lots of chats. Lots of realizing that I always thought he was mini-me, but there is so much more to it than that. Even like the little things, little gestures that I know I do that I see in him. And it was just a blast. I mean, it's very important nowadays to remember what and who is important, truly. And to do your best, stay in touch, tell them you love them, and just be there. Be there. Like there are times when, I don't know, I might not even have anything to say, but I might want to talk to my son, or I might not have anything to say, or I might want to just say hi to my wife or something. There's just something about the communication, and communication seems to be my big issue, if we're talking about issues. But we're not. We're talking about my trip to Montana. So anyhow, this was our third what's the right way of saying it? Matching tattoo that my son and I got. The first one was the Eye of Horus. It was a walk-in. We went to a shop in Colorado, in Longmont, Colorado, and we're like, hey, can you get us in? They got us in. We got the Eye of Horus from an artist named Horace. Go figure, right? Really nice guy. Ended up having some great conversation. The next tattoo was the Norse compass right there. Another walk-in. That was in Missoula, Montana. And went in. Can you get us in? First place couldn't. Second place got us in. And we got it from an artist. I believe her name was Kayla. And she had just gotten the same tattoo. Also led to some great conversation there. So, just another coincidence. You tend to be drawn to similar vibing people. Dig? And that worked out. Now, this next tattoo that we got, let's see if I can get a good handle on it. That one right there, can you see it? There you go. Yeah. That one, don't tell that we are BS. That those aliens are BS. The aliens to worry about are the ones that are right here and over that way. That's the ones to worry about. And no, I'm not talking about, the ones on the border. That's a different story. I'm talking about, aliens, okay? We'll get to that in another video sometime. But, we got this, and it was also a walk-in, obviously. I mean, these aren't complicated things that we want to get. So, a couple of places couldn't get us in, didn't have time. Finally called the guy. He answered on a cell phone. He's like, sure, man, I can get you in. Gave me the address. Came up with some sketches. We go meet him the next day. The place where my son and I ended up getting our third matching tattoo was across the street and next door. Well, across the street from the house that we were living in Missoula, Montana when my son was born, and next door to the place where I was working, Eagle Satellite in Missoula, Montana. So I found that a little coincidental. Again, the artist, I think his name was Drew. I forget. I'll remember because I'm going to get back to him. He's a really cool dude. But yeah, it was cool. And again, wonderful conversation with a great guy. So just more coincidences. And yeah, I got to have I went, and I don't know what was going on in Montana, in Missoula at the time, but there were like no hotel rooms. Even the Motel 6 was like $150 a night. So I said, you know what, I'm going to play it by ear and just let the chips fall where they may. And I made it to town. Then I started looking around. Spent one night at a motel. It was okay. I'd stayed there before. And then the second day, I ended up finding an Airbnb, which was cheaper than the motel, in the middle of the woods. Wonderful place, wonderful people, wonderful setup. We saw wild deer and wild turkeys. There were hummingbirds. There were all sorts of other birds. And there were two little dogs, one little one, one big one that came with the house. We had the downstairs, they had the upstairs. But the dogs were super friendly, and they just came and hung with us. And people were great, couldn't have been better. Again, it fell in my lap. Wonderful place, and I will be back there, and this is the place to stay. If anybody out there, if anybody's listening and you're going to be in Missoula, Montana, and you need a cool place to stay that's not going to break the bank and it's super amazing, let me know. I'll tell you where to go. I'll point you in the right direction. Now, things have been different. Everybody keeps talking about how they want things to go back to normal, which in itself is a problem, because if you considered that normal, what we had, and I'm talking prior to 2020, prior to all those things that people are afraid to talk about on YouTube, and I don't give a shit, prior to the pandemic, prior to vaccinations, prior to China, prior to all that garbage, that wasn't normal. What should be normal and what the new normal should be spending time with those you love, doing things you love to do, and not scrounging to get by and stuff like that. Do the things you love, man. You could do it. I'm telling you, you could do it. If I could do it, you could do it. I'm nobody, but I'm doing it. Trying to anyway. Trying to make my own way through life here as we navigate the seas of bullshit that we're swimming in. But yeah, getting back to that normal, I was super excited. Not that I love the place, but I was super excited that there was a Denny's. I've been dying to go to Denny's, I don't know, forever. It's just a comfort thing, right? There's not one in Tennessee where we are. So we go to a Denny's. We're like, yeah, excited, right? What a disappointment. That seems to be the case these days with everything. Everything is getting the fun taken out of it. And it's obvious most people hate their jobs. Most businesses are understaffed. And they're trying to do their best to stay open, but they're using crappy ingredients. I mean, you can go to your favorite place and you know that they're using subpar ingredients. And you know, you try to be a good friend, customer, so you still support them. But I mean, some places are beyond repair. You know what I mean? And some places won't admit it. Then that just makes things worse. But anyhow, we got to Denny's, and there is one waitress. One waitress. Luckily, there were only 3 tables. 3 people at tables. There were 2 other tables sitting down, a 2-top and a 4-top. That means a table of 2 and a table of 4. And then there was us, 2 more people, 1 waitress. Okay, generally you should be able to, take care of it. 1 waitress, 3 tables, that's fine. And being in the restaurant business for a long time, I give people the benefit of the doubt most of the time. Well, what do I like about Denny's? Basically, they're seasoned fries. I was going to get a moons over my hammy and seasoned fries to eat some crap with my son and enjoy, conversation or whatever. Well, first thing, one waitress comes up. I'm like, oh, I'll have the moons over my hammy and your seasoned fries. Oh, we're out of the seasoned fries. Great. Okay, I'll take regular fries. My son got, I think, chicken fried steak or something like that. But he was supposed to get red potatoes. Well, 45 minutes later, no exaggeration, 45 minutes later, we get our food. Remember, 3 tables in the place. Being in the restaurant business, there's only a couple of explanations. I mean, maybe it's a new cook and he kept fucking up the the food. I mean, that's like one of the only explanations I can have for why it took so fucking long. He kept fucking it up and having to remake it. Because not only were there only 3 tables in there, the table of 4 was done. They were just sitting there talking. The table of 2 already had their food. So they were just making our food, which took 45 minutes to make, to bring out to the table. And then what happens? It's all wrong. Nobody cares anymore. Nobody cares anymore because I would say, conservatively speaking, 90% of the time, anytime we go out, the order is fucked up. And it all comes down to whoever's cooking not reading the ticket. Because it'll say, mayo on side, no mayo, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And they don't do the thing that it's asked to do. Nobody cares. Nobody cares anymore. If you have a job, you hate it. And you just don't care. You don't care to give customer service. You don't. And then you go and you lie. Oh, I'm sorry. Whatever. And what do you do then? Stiff the waitress? No, of course not. We're going to tip her anyway because that's what I do. But we're really moving into a weird time. And just smile, man. Make people happy. I mean, went to another place on the drive back. Some truck stop. I think it was a TA or something. Stopped at their coffee shop. Again, I mean, this was like probably, I would say 8:30, 9 o'clock at night. Walk in, truck stop restaurant. I just wanted a cup of coffee. So I could, get something to drink before I keep driving. And, well, I walk in, the waitress says, oh, I'm sorry, but our chef just walked out. So it's going to be a while for the food. And I'm like, oh, I just want a cup of coffee. I'm sorry about that, but I just want a cup of coffee if that's okay. She's like, oh, yeah, sure. So I got my cup of coffee. There were a couple other people there. They get up and walk out yelling at the waitress. And she's like all flustered and stuff. And it just sucks because you got. I mean, what do you do? She's there now. She's on the phone talking to what I guess was her manager, the owner of the place, or something, and trying to explain what was going on. And you could hear the manager yelling on the phone, like, "Oh, well, you gotta get started. Call this person. Call that person." That's your job, dude. That's not your waitress's job. But that's not what I'm talking about, man. It's just like people just don't care anymore. People just don't care anymore. I got a cup of coffee. I tipped her $10. Hopefully that made her day a little better. But it's just the way it is all the time. I mean, we go, I don't know how it is in wherever the heck you are, but we shop at Aldi here all the time and other places, and every single supermarket, well, they give you frozen food. You go to get the bread, the bag is wet because it just came out of the freezer. You go to buy a watermelon, the watermelon's frozen and it's out. They just brought it out from the freezer. What does that do? You can't freeze fruit and then put it out. And it goes straight from frozen to rotten. You know, just shit like that. And just people don't care anymore. The fun is being taken out of everything. And what I want to do is put the fun back in things. I want to have fun. I was thinking about that the other day. We're not really having fun much anymore. And we could. But we're not. And that's the problem. We're getting too bogged down with all the bullshit that we're being bombarded with every day. You know what I mean? And people putting negative spins on everything. And people even... I mean, I talked about it in other videos, but, you know, like, I'm tired of television and the news and all that garbage. So what do? I look at history, and I look at alternative histories, and I look at archaeology and, you know, things like that, and try to figure out what happened, what's happening, what happened before, how did this happen, how did that get made? You know, I'm doing these kind of things, and there are alternative fringe theories, and, you know, the moon landing hoax, and all this other bullshit, and... You know, there's lots of things that we are being lied to about, and that's what I like to do. I like to research, and the more you research, the more you find out, and the more, if you think one thing is bullshit, you're going to find 10 other things that are bullshit as well, and that's the thing. That's the thing, and then you go and you see on TV and Time Magazine and all that other shit, don't do your own research. That's a bad idea, because you'll go down these rabbit holes that are just meant, whatever, man. You know when something's right and when something's wrong. That's a problem. That's the problem. People think we're stupid. We're not. We choose to be stupid a lot by not doing what we're supposed to do, but intuition tells you when something's right and wrong. Intuition, you can meet someone, not knowing them, you could tell if that's an honest person or not. You could tell if that's a good person or not. We have what some may call magical powers, man, and you know, that sounds retarded, but whatever. We have powers that can't be explained. We can tell, we can do that. We have intuition. That's the big one. My intuition has never been wrong. Every time I've gotten busted doing something stupid, I knew I was going to get busted doing something stupid because it was telling me, don't do it. This is going to happen. And then when I did it, that is exactly what happened. Did I make that happen? Probably. It's the way it goes, but there's too many people nowadays that are wanting to do your thinking for you. Wanting to do your thinking for you. I'm kind of... I don't know what's going to happen with this country. I'm not scared, because I'm not scared. I know it's all going to be okay. I know what the story is with this. I know that this isn't to be taken seriously, and too many people do. Too many people have too many attachments down here. They don't want to see that go away. And then there are those that think they're doing a good thing, and all they're doing is scaring the fuck out of people. Or leading them in the wrong direction. Like, there are many infiltrators in every sort of group. Whatever theory you're following, whatever your conspiracy theory of record of the day is, whichever one you're following on this day, you should know that there's people who are putting out bullshit because they're told to. There are people that'll put out years worth of great material and then take it all back. And I wonder about that. I'm talking to you, Aewar. I wonder about that. Because it's like you spend years on this theory, and then you take it back, and your evidence is pictures. One of the most easily manipulated things. So you can't base your evidence on pictures, amigo. And I think I kind of know what his angle is. And if I'm right, it's pretty cool. But just think, you go in and you go, look, this is what's happening, right? And you wake people up. Then maybe you get threatened and you go, "Ah, man, I was kidding. I didn't do enough research. Sorry, I'm taking it all back. That's obviously bullshit." That's kind of like the Democrats, the Democrat news media, the left-wing news media, which is basically the entire news media. That's what they do with retractions, you know. They'll give you some bullshit headline, which is obviously inflammatory and fake one day, and then when they get busted, they'll print a retraction in page 36, you know, one little tiny. That's how it works. And that's how I see this. Now, I was thinking about perhaps starting to interview people. And one of the first that I want to interview is a guy I'm following. I'm following him. He's smart in many ways. He knows very well what he's doing, even though he keeps saying he doesn't. He keeps calling himself a meatball. And it's a guy named Jacob Israel. And go to his channel, Jacob Israel. Maybe I'll leave a link down there. He's got some great theories. But in my opinion, he suffers from some deep-rooted TDS. If you don't know what that is, maybe I'll mention it later on. But it's a complete unhinged, even though he hides it well, complete hatred of a certain orange person. And I'm telling you, this guy does some really good work, but it becomes so apparent that he's too ingrained in the anti-Trump thing. And that's really keeping him from from clicking with all the things, from all the things clicking together, because I don't know. And I mean, he admits to putting clickbait YouTube thumbnails and things like that. So I mean, I get his shtick. I get it. I get why he does what he does, and he probably doesn't even realize half the things he's doing, and he thinks he's doing it for the right reason. But what a lot of these YouTubers and content creators and influencers don't seem to realize is that, well, you have a platform, and sometimes it seems that the entire purpose of that platform is just to scare the fuck out of people one way or another. And that's what you're doing. That's what many channels do. That's what, without even realizing maybe, or do they? Maybe it's on purpose. There's another one I watch, Marfugal News. It's great, but then when you think about it, it's all just planting seeds of fear. This is going to happen. World War III is coming. Blah, 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 blah. Hasn't that been happening forever, though? Haven't we been waiting forever? I mean, I talk to my wife about that all the time. We're constantly waiting. We're waiting for something. We're waiting for things. We're waiting for this to happen before we can do that. We're waiting for the apocalypse now, right? Sometimes you just kind of wish, when by you I mean me, that I could not know. Sometimes I wish I could be, pardon my French, as fucked in the head as some people out there are. And by fucked in the head, I mean not caring what's going on, I can go to work every day and do a good job and, gain some team building skills and, yeah, let's go over the top. Make this restaurant the best one ever. Yeah. Pay your bills. Pay your ridiculous bills. pay for water, pretty soon pay for air. Hang out very little with your friends and family because you're too tired and from working all fucking day at a job you hate. Nah, man, I've never been into that. I have never been into that. I never will be into that. That, in my opinion, is the true mental illness. Believing all that BS. Believing that that's all there is. Believing that we're here and then we're poof, it's all over. This whole thing was meaningless. You believe that? Forgot to mention at the beginning, this band we're listening to is called God is an Astronaut. They're new to me, and that's cool because I like finding new bands to get into. These guys are, so far, they seem to be instrumental mainly, and the music's really cool, and I kind of dig the name. God is an Astronaut. So God is a paid actor? Nah. God is a faker? Nah. God is an actor-naut. Great band. This album's called The End is the Beginning. Funny, I think I said that a few times. And that is the takeaway I got from Ghost's new album, too. That the end is the beginning. Which brings us back to our number one fear as humans. Death. Ooh. Scary. You're going to die. We're all going to die. It's the stupidest thing. We're all going to die. This right here, in my opinion, it's kind of like you're on a cross-country drive, a road trip, and you stop at a really cool, interesting, or frightening rest area, and then somehow you forget after a while that you're at the rest area and that there was somewhere else to go. You forget that you're just in a temporary situation. So you build a house there and you get a job at the rest area and you believe the rest area is all there is because it's endless, man. Hey, is the rest area round or is it flat? I say get back in the car and drive, man. Get away from the fucking rest area. Rest area's tainted with bad soil. Or it could be the greatest rest area ever, but either way, it's temporary. My friends. I was telling my wife the other day, I think I'm having an existential crisis. I'm not really sure what the fuck I'm supposed to do with myself. So I figure I'll just keep doing what I'm doing, right? I'm heading somewhere. We're all heading somewhere. Some faster than others. Now, do we get there? Or do we do like the Incredible Hulk, Bruce Banner in the old TV series and just walk from situation to situation, putting yourself in it? That's what this is. We're here to figure shit out and move on. People get here and forget. They kid themselves that they like it here. But that is not to say that there aren't situations here which could be prolonged and should be prolonged. People misinterpret me when I mention that the whole point of living is to die. Many people call it many different things. Some say we're here to heal past traumas. Trauma is a word I've never liked. I've never liked catchphrases. You know, you get into a certain group, so you have to use all the words that are typical to that scenario. I don't know. Now I'm starting to just ramble on in circles. So here's what I'm going to say. Ooh, is that a burp? Unedited. Unedited. All right. So anyhow, that's basically it. I had a great time in Montana with my son. We're going to do that a lot more often. Website. It's a broken record, but if I find my motivation, I'll put it back up this week. For those wondering about the shop, somehow it's still out there somewhere, but not on the website right now. If there's anything you're requiring, let me know. But the website will be back and running soon. As soon as I get motivation. It's something I lack these days because I'm suffering from what's the point? Like I said, I'm having a little bit of an existential crisis, figuring out the next chapter here. Best way of going about doing things. I have many ideas. Going to start to put some into play here soon. In the meantime, that's it. Smile, listen to good music. I recommend God as an Astronaut, among many other things. Here we go. This is Twilight. Terrible movie, by the way. All right. Have a good one.